Hello everyone, my name is Brian and welcome back for another Assassin Apocalypse. This time around I actually got requested playing Thanatos. Thanatos is a very strong assassin, especially in the early game. That's where he shines. He's a lot of a guard that is considered a steamroll guard. For instance, when you get going, then it will be it can get out of control. Snowball effect, that's something that you want to get going. If you're able to, then he is almost unstoppable, but if he's behind, he's very difficult to use effective. But we'll get back to that later when we go over his abilities and the way he works. So, his passive. His passive is pretty interesting. Every single ability he has actually costs health as well as mana. So that makes things very interesting, because if you're below certain percentage of health, you can't use any abilities, even though you might have the mana. So that makes things possibly difficult. So, his passive has a little bit more to it. Also, when you kill a minion or a guard, you've last hit them, you will receive healing. You will receive 10% of the maximum HP of the minion you kill as healing, and 20% for a god, 20% of the maximum health the god had. So against a tank, if you're able to kill a tank, then it's very powerful. Nice taunt by the Athena. Actually able to save the Bastet for a while, but not long enough. Also, when you kill a god, your cooldowns are reduced by 5 seconds. This can be very important to reset cooldowns after you've hit them. Definitely very strong, but it relies on kills a lot. And, well, in arena it can be difficult to get kills. Can be, doesn't have to be, but it can be. So, his first ability is his Death Sight. Probably his most important ability in his entire kit, other than maybe his ultimate. You see me use it there. When you hit someone, it will deal a large amount of damage. It will also heal you for 75% of the damage you dealt. So if you deal more damage with it, you will also receive more healing. As well as the fact that it also does percentage damage in addition when you hit gods. So if you hit a god, it will deal actually 10% of their maximum HP as additional damage, which is very powerful, especially if they don't have any defenses against you, but they do have well, they do have additional health. As you saw there, the side hitting for an awful lot, just able to pick up, I think it was the enemy's Poseidon, not entirely. Actually it was the Amaterasu. I was kidding. But you can also use it to heal up on minions. Can be very effective in, for instance, Assault, but actually also in Conquest. Everywhere it can be effective. So, the second ability, you've seen me use it a few times. It's a steroid. It will increase your movement speed, and it will provide you with a passive penetration. It will provide you 15 penetration at rank 1 up to a 35 penetration at the maximum rank. And as well 10% movement speed up to a maximum of 30% movement speed at max rank. Something interesting to note, when someone is in his threshold, I'll get back to his threshold later with his ultimate, but basically if they're below a certain point of health, then you will have double the movement speed increase on your 2 while you are moving towards that person that is in threshold. So that can be up to 60% additional movement speed when you have your 2 maxed out and you walk towards someone within threshold. Definitely very powerful. And as you can see, the sight almost instantly erasing, and I'm able to actually execute him. I'll get back to that in a second, but first off, his third ability. His third ability is his sight. You've seen me use it. It's a cone-shaped ability. It will swipe from right to left. It will silence enemies and dealing damage. It will silence for 0.5 seconds up to a maximum of 1.5 seconds when you max it out. It can be very effective to interrupt stuff as well, but there is a little charge up on it because you are swiping it right to left. So, there's some interesting things. His 1, his 2 and his 3 all cost 5% of his maximum HP. That's why building a lot of health on Thanatos is not recommended, because you will actually hurt yourself more, because it is your maximum HP you're sacrificing for your abilities. definitely very powerful. As you can see, it doesn't do too much on the enemy Athena, and at this point I'm basically dead. I didn't have anything up. My beats were off cooldown, but Amaterasu has way too much damage for me to finish her off instantly. So I am going for the breastplate because they do have 3 physicals, and Amaterasu was the reason I died in that engagement. But on the build I will get back later. So his ultimate, very interesting one. You will charge up a bit. It will also, by the way, it will cost 10% of your maximum HP. You will charge up a bit. You will go into the sky. You will be able to hover in the air for 5 seconds maximum, and you will be able to choose where you are going to land. If you land on a guard, it will deal damage and it will stun them, but if they are in between the threshold for execution, you will actually instantly kill them. They won't survive unless they have Aegis or something like that. Capri ultimate doesn't work for that. That's something interesting to note. Executions go through Capri's ultimate, actually, as well as the Bulwark of Hope is also something that you can go through. It provides you a shield as well as gap shield, but if you are in between that threshold, the percentage health, then you can be executed. The percentage health depends on the rank on your ultimate. On rank 1, someone needs to be below 24% of their maximum HP to be in execute range, and at the maximum rank of his ultimate it is actually 40%. So if you can bring someone down to 40%, you can actually execute them with your ultimate if you hit it and it didn't use, for instance, Sanctuary. Then it's very effective, especially if you are struggling to kill a Guardian, for instance. Bring it just below the threshold, able to finish it off with the ultimate can be very effective to get that one out of the fight. What you also can do, especially in the early game, which is very effective, is just go into the ultimate, land down for the stun with the Thanatos. That guarantees your death side, your 1 to hit, dealing a huge amount of damage, and as you can see, a lot of damage coming out. My cooldown's reset by 5 seconds, healing me up by a tremendous amount because the death side hit, healing me up, and the kill heals me up for 20% of Amaterasu's maximum HP as well. So very strong altogether. What you see me use and do a lot is activate my 2, get that additional movement speed and penetration to throw out my side, dealing even more damage because you do have that penetration online. Also, one small thing I forgot to note about his 1, his death side, even if his damage and healing and maximum HP damage isn't enough, it also slows the enemy for 3 seconds, slowing them for a total of for 3 seconds for 20%. So it's a decent slow. It's not the best slow, but it's definitely a good one. And especially when you have your 2 activated, you can chase up to the enemy very quickly. Especially if they are at threshold, because you get double the movement speed on your 2 when they are in threshold. That's also the reason why I max out my 2 first. That additional movement speed is very good. Instead of 10%, 30% additional movement speed is just an insane amount. And also another very important part I forgot to mention: when you are when you activated your 2 as Thanatos, you are slow immune. So there is no way to stop that train except for CCs like, for instance, the Amaterasu. And what I should have done here in this regard was go for my ultimate immediately when that Amaterasu ultimate came out. Maybe I'm able to get away. Oh, that is rough. I preemptively beat the taunt from the Athena, but the reach from her second basic was actually able to pick me up because I was so low on HP, and as you can see, I'm pointing it out, the reach finished me off. 2 reaches after each other. Well played on Athena's part, definitely nice played. So, like I said, there are a few options to level up his abilities. You definitely need to level up your 1. Always max out that one first, because it's your main damage source. And your ultimate, because the threshold will increase. It's definitely recommended to level that one up whenever you have the opportunity. Also important, you have the option to level up your 3 first. That allows you to do a bit more AoE damage and silence longer, because 1.5 seconds instead of 0.5 can make a huge difference. But The additional movement speed and penetration will also allow you to deal more damage with your 1 and your 3. So I recommend leveling that one up first before you level up your 3. Unless of course they are all mages which require on their abilities a lot with long charge up times. Or just helpless when they don't have it up. And as you can see, I'm going for the stun, just a stun. Huge amount of damage, nice sanctuary. That let me go back to the base. I don't want to chase that one up. But actually Amaterasu is able to pick up that kill. As you can see, Death Side, huge amount of damage. Maybe we can save this Chronos. One basic, yes, it is enough, and that is a double kill, definitely. A lot of basic attack damage as well. Also an interesting thing, he has a basic attack chain. He will attack twice and then he will deal an kind of a half circle AoE attack, which can deal multiple minions as well as guards, for instance. So it can be very useful to hit someone even if they are hiding in the minion wave. It will also deal the most damage because it does scale. I'm not entirely sure how much it scales, but I'm lucky enough that I can get out of the Poseidon Kraken with that amount of HP. So, enough about his abilities. Let's go over his build. You want to always get the power boost on Thanatos first. It provides you a huge damage spike. It's very important for your ability. Let's go. Can I get the double execute? They group up and it is the double execute. 2 executes with 1 ultimate. You don't see that a lot because usually they don't group up that way. Something interesting to note, if you are in your ultimate, the threshold icon that I can see will also light up for the people that are in threshold. So they will know that you are in your ultimate, so they can expect it easily. It's very important to note because sometimes you think you have the surprise, but if they are in threshold, they actually know it. Preemptive silence again, use my shell as well. And I need to heal up. With my 1 I can heal up enough to get away safely. And with that additional movement speed, getting out of trouble very easily. That's also a reason why the movement speed can be very important. It is a engage as well as a disengage. And the additional penetration also very powerful to do every single thing. And at this point I deal enough damage as it is, especially with my build. So I went Jotun's next. Jotun's additional cooldown reduction definitely recommended on Thanatos. Definitely recommended picking that one up second. The third one is more of a flavor pick depending on the game was going. A bit of defense is never bad and full cooldown reduction on Thanatos is actually very good. But since we're against a Kali Amaterasu as well as a Bastet, they just have a lot of physical power. So that the physical defense will help out a tremendous amount. The full cooldown reduction also very powerful. And a huge amount of damage. Execute was not necessary. An awful lot of damage. Can we hit her? I will go for the basics. I don't need to go into up my ult. That will take too much of a time. And we are able to pick up 2 of the enemies. Very nice. So that's just very powerful. I like Thanatos when you're fat. But if you have one of those off days where you're not hitting your sights, that's basically what it is all about. If you hit your sights, you won. Then you will definitely be able to do a lot of damage, a lot of healing. Very useful, but if you miss them, then it's definitely rough for you because you actually spend health to miss an ability to not do anything. Ooh, stepping into the Amaterasu ultimate, bit unfortunate. Beautiful knockup, very well done. Waiting for the ultimate to pause, going in. Ooh, beautiful Sanctuary. I didn't look at the actives. Beautiful. Well done by the Kali actually. Sanctuary after her ultimate, preventing getting executed again. I waited for the ultimate to pause because I knew Kali would not heal up enough. She used her escape as well. So I was waiting for that ultimate to be over, be done with. But she activated Sanctuary afterwards, so I wasn't able to get the execute off. Not getting any healing, being in between 4 of them. Dying in the process. I went for Titan's Bane after. They have some tanky targets with the Amaterasu, with the Athena. So that additional pen will help out, even though I do have my 2 for additional pen. But it's just an awful lot of pen altogether. After that, the Athena did a good amount of damage to me as well as the Poseidon. So I have picked up the Bulwark. It doesn't provide too much of health, but it provides you the shield when you are low on health. Helping you to maintain your healthy position longer, which allows you to use your abilities more, because if you're below then it is very difficult. Sprint popped, but it is not quick enough. I'm able to pick up the Athena. while she was trying to juke out the ultimate. You can juke it out, it's definitely something you'll be able to do, but it can be very difficult. And enough damage. Athena coming in, actually getting flopped immediately. Nice stun though, and I use my beats, I need to get out Amaterasu. Ooh, I did the barrel backstab! Sometimes you can just look the way you are, not going, pressing your S key, going backwards. That threw off the Amaterasu entirely. I was able to dodge one of the hits. Nobody got hit, and so I didn't get stunned after the third hit. And that allowed me to get away safely. So that's also something, little cheeky thing that might be able to save you. And let's see, can we go for this Bastet? I go with him ultimate, it's not necessary anymore, but at this moment I can just look for that Poseidon. Nice taunt again from the Athena. Well done by her, she's playing very well, she's peeling for her team very well. Just impressive altogether, I got to admit that, but we just have an awful lot of damage at this point. Just straight up bursting a lot of them. And with the threshold execute, it's very difficult to deal with. Especially now, while it is in 40% maximum HP is the threshold. It's definitely very easy for me to get those execute off sometimes. So the last item is Rawless, additional pen, overcapping it a bit, but still very powerful. And again, you see me quickly turn around, throwing that side, healing me up a bit, slowing the enemy, and we are able to pick up that kill. And at this point I am pretty low, but I am very quick. And at this point I can just go back to base. So I like to pick up Jotuns, I like to pick up Titan's Bane. Sometimes you go for some attack speed. I don't really like to pick up attack speed on Thanatos because he is very risky to get in. Sometimes a Mantle of Discord can help out as well if they have an awful lot of CCs and when you're below health, a certain percentage health. It can provide you with the long range side, actually hitting Poseidon a lot. But like I was saying, it can heal you up, well it can stun the enemies when you are below a certain percentage. It will proc the Bulwark as well as the Mantle of Discord. If they both proc at the same time, you will actually have a lot better of survivability, allowing you to use your abilities to try to survive. So it's definitely a good pickup, it's also a very good one. I would have gone for Mantle of Discord if I didn't go for a Breastplate. And that's just for the fact that otherwise I would have overcapped my cooldowns way too much. For the fact that the Breastplate and the Jotuns bring me back to the cap. And the, what's it called? A huge amount of damage. This time I am going to the sky. She used the Sanctuary and I'm waiting for the Sanctuary, but the basic is enough. And actually I'm in execute range. Getting 600 health back from executing that Amaterasu. Resetting my cooldowns and only one kill left to go and the basic is enough. Double kill to finish this off and we are victorious. A very large deficit, 101 to 0. 14 in 4. Thanatos, just disgusting. I had a lot of control, full cooldown reduction. I could just use all my abilities rapidly after each other, especially if I get a kill, resetting the cooldowns with 5 seconds. And as you can see, a huge amount of damage. Actually out damaged by the Chronos, props to him. A lot of damage done by the Chronos. And just an insane game altogether. Huge amount of damage. I picked up beats, and that's for the fact that they do have an Athena, Kali stun, as well as Amaterasu stun. So the beats will help out. You can also go for a blink tactic. I don't really like blink as much to engage. That's just my playstyle, but it's definitely something you can go for. Because when you're close range, you can hit that sight in the face, doing some basics, killing them off very quickly. It is an option. I went for the shell afterwards because when my beats are down and I need to protect myself some way from the Poseidon ultimate, Amaterasu ultimate, I can pop that shell, getting the additional protections, and it can also help out my team when we are engaging. So that's why I picked those up. The 2 defense items definitely recommended because late game Thanatos is very squishy because all his abilities do cost his health, as well as the fact that he is still an assassin, but you are an assassin that fights a lot, especially in arena in this case. Sometimes you really just want to go for the execution if you build only damage and get out of the fight as fast as possible with your tool. It is pretty easy to do that sometimes, depending on how you use it. Anyway, I hope you guys learned something about Thanatos. I hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, good luck, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.